Hello everyone, welcome back to Fitness for Gamers and Streamers. Still Chris here, thank you for joining me. We're putting another one in the books today. And today I want to talk a bit about fat loss mistakes I see people make all the time. If you're new to the gym, even if you're not new to the gym. If you're trying to lose fat, there are lots of common mistakes I see. If you can avoid these, you'll be ahead of most people. So that said, let's crack right onto it. I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is the speed at which they try to lose weight. They want to see it as a sprint. They tend to think, I'm too heavy now, I want to get to my new goal or body weight as soon as possible, without realizing that they spent a lot of time gaining weight, getting themselves into that condition, and it's not going to happen overnight. And what happens when you try to run through it too quickly, you try to speed run your fat loss, is not sustainable. So I see it again and again, people going, I'm going to start this new weight loss kick, I'm going to get healthy. And they end up getting ill actually. They make themselves sick because they're not prepared for it. They try to do too much too quickly, it's too intense. And they set themselves backwards, and then they end up giving up, thinking it's not for them, starting again in 6 months or so. And the pattern just repeats itself, but it's just frustrating. What you need to do is build momentum slowly. So that said, I think we could talk about mistakes with exercise and diet really. The big mistakes I see with exercise for fat loss is people trying to use cardio for fat loss and work off the fat, which makes sense in some ways, and we've been told it for a long time, but that's not the way for sustainable, healthy fat loss. Cardio is a great tool, but I like to use cardio as a calorie burner in the last case scenario. Cardio should be done to improve your heart health, your lung health, your general health. It's fantastic for you, but you should not be trying to run off any weight. That's not a healthy way to do it. So if you want to go for a run, add some cardio, that's great. I recommend doing zone 2 cardio 3 or 4 times a week for half an hour. For myself, that's an incline walk. Try to keep my heart rate about 130 to 150, which if you don't want to count that, would be being able to have a conversation but not really want to. So you can still talk but you're not really feeling it. That's fantastic for your health, but it shouldn't be your main way to lose weight and reduce calories. The other one I see is people who train weights already, they try to make their weights into cardio. They think if they do higher reps, loads and loads of sets of, say, bench press, say squats, say pick a lift, that will then burn more calories and help them lose weight faster. I think that's a really big mistake. I think we should always keep strength training as strength training. That should be the key focus of lifting weights, to get stronger, to build yourself up and be more. You shouldn't be trying to use weights as cardio. It also goes for doing too much volume. People think they're going to go into a fat loss phase. They need to add loads and loads of sets so they burn more calories. No, it's not what we're trying to do. Keep strength training. For the diet, I think there are even more mistakes here. I think people try to do a too intense a cut, or cut in fitness we talk about losing weight. Bulking would be, we talk about bulking, gaining weight, cutting, losing weight. So too restrictive for calories, they think they're going to go from the normal diet to eating half the calories and fat loss will come off really quickly. You'll lose some weight quickly, water weight initially, but it's not sustainable and you won't be able to keep up with it. And you set unrealistic expectations. If you suddenly lose 5 pounds the first week, you get motivated, that's great, but you should not expect to lose that same amount each week because that's not how it works. Fat loss is a slower process. I think people need up to, if you've got a lot of weight to lose, recommend up to 3 pounds a week, really. That could be a sustainable rate. That can make a bit progress. But if you're a smaller person, you've got less to lose, 1 or 2 pounds a week is great. And you may think, Chris, that sounds like nothing. But again, this is over a process. This is over time. Do that over 10 weeks. If you lose 2 pounds a week, that's 20 pounds, which is almost a pound and a half, which makes a big visual difference. And the difference also is you keep that weight off. This is weight that's not going to have to put on. You have to yo-yo back and forth. You're in a healthy, sustainable way, that weight will stay off, okay? Keep that in mind. And you say I want to rush it to faster. How much weight did you lose over the last 6 months? Put it into perspective. If you want to make a difference to a healthy lifestyle, you need to commit to it and do it slowly. So on the side of that, other thing to add is people who do fat loss phase, they want to change their whole diet completely. Now, I'm all for making healthy choices and shifting to better things to eat, but I don't believe you should completely change your diet entirely and expect to stick to it, because you won't, especially if you add loads of healthy foods that you don't even like. What you're doing is putting in a lot of resistance, and when you're trying to lose fat, you want to make it as smooth and simple, straightforward as possible. So I wouldn't start incorporating, 20 new vegetables a day. I wouldn't start doing that, because all you're doing is creating resistance. You're making it harder for yourself to stick to it. You can eat the same foods, but in different portions, different ratios, okay? Another thing I see is people restricting themselves to their favourite foods entirely. In a fat loss phase, if you have your favourite foods are high calorie, high density, you may eat less of them, but you can still fit them in, and you should do. Because again, we're talking about a sustainable lifestyle. There are no foods that are off limits. Don't think you have to eat all single ingredient foods all the time, all these clean eating things. Yes, it's generally lower calories, but there is always room for your favourite foods in there. Try and aim for, say, 70% clean, bracket inverted commas, healthy food, and then 30% other food that fits in. Don't become too obsessed with this, because that can lead to eating disorders. I myself went through a very, very strict eating phase for a long time when I started fitness, and it wasn't great. So don't make that mistake. There are no bad foods. There are hardly any foods I can think of, and I can't think of any that were actively bad for you as you eat them, okay? So don't think about foods being good or bad. It's just energy. If some foods better fit your energy needs, that's great. So that's all I'm going to talk about today. Those are some really common fat loss mistakes. If you can avoid these, that'll be fantastic. I'll catch you tomorrow.